Second graders, this is Miss Kish. This is your science lesson video. So second graders, last time we had science, we did an experiment with 3 different sand trays, right? The first sand tray was flat, it had no slope. The second sand tray had a slight slope, a little bit of a slope or a hill, and the third sand tray had a steep slope. Okay, and we poured water on each one and we noticed what happened. And when we had our flat or no slope sand tray, the water pretty much stayed in the area where I poured it, right? It was soaking into the sand and then it was starting to flood in that area. The tray that had a slight slope, the water flowed downhill. A little bit of the sand was moving, right? There was a little bare spot that we could see, and water was pooling down at the bottom, at the low spot of the sand tray, okay? The third tray was our steep slope. The water definitely flowed downhill. It was collecting at the bottom and kind of starting to pool together down there, right? And it also carried a lot of sand with it. There was a big bare spot on that sand tray when I finished, and you could see the sand where it had moved down the hill. Okay, when water is carrying pieces of sand or rock or soil from one place to another, that's called erosion. Okay, erosion. And we've talked about this before when we talked about rivers, how sometimes rivers look so muddy or dirty because they are carrying pieces of rock or soil or sand. They're moving them downhill as the water flows downhill. And that's exactly what happened with our steep slope and a little bit with our slight slope or a little slope too, right? So erosion can be a problem, right? Because sometimes we don't want that sand or soil or dirt or rocks to move. Sometimes we want it to stay where it is. Imagine if you were a farmer and it rains and the rain carries away a lot of your good soil. That's going to make it harder for you to be a farmer, right? Or imagine your yard has a slope and when it rains, soil or little rocks or things move and get washed downhill and your yard is starting to wash away, right? We don't want that to happen. So erosion can be bad. It can cause damage. And a lot of people want to stop or prevent it from happening. Okay, so today we're going to watch an experiment about what might help stop erosion or at least make it less, not as much erosion. Okay, so I have a problem for you. If you take a look at this picture right here, imagine this is a park and there's a lake here and there's a lake back here. And the people who run the park want to put a trail from one lake to the other lake. And the trail will go over a hill, up a hill, and then down the other side. So the hill has been cleared. There's no trees, there's no grass. It's all just open dirt, okay, on the hill. And the problem that they're having is that there is erosion, okay? And they want to stop the erosion. So when they build the trail stays. They don't have to dig it back out again or worry about fixing it all the time, okay? So our challenge is to think about how can they stop the soil from washing away, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is get our paper ready. So this is a great time if you need to pause and go get your writer's notebook, you can do that, okay? And when you get it, you're going to split it into 4 parts, okay? So 1 vertical line up and down, 1 horizontal line going across. Okay, so you can see that my paper today is going sideways because I did this on the computer, but if yours goes up and down, that's okay too, all right? So you don't have to write all the words that I've written, okay? So go with me and I'll help you know what to write, all right? In the first box, I just want you to write this P word right here, predict, okay? Write the word predict. You don't have to write the words after. Okay, and what we're gonna do today is we're going to try pouring water on a slope with 3 different materials. The first one will be just dirt or soil. The second one will be soil with leaves on top. and the third one will be soil with grass planted in it. Okay, so I want you to make a prediction. Which one do you think will be the best at stopping erosion? So which one will be the best at not having soil washing downhill along with the water? Okay, if you think it will just be soil, then in this first box, you can just write the word soil. If you think it will be the soil with leaves on top, then in this box, you can just write the word leaves, like I did right here. Okay, and if you think it will be the soil with grass planted in it, you can just write the word grass. Okay, so in the first box, you're only writing 2 words. The first word is predict, your prediction. And the second word is one of these 3 words. Which one do you think will be the best at not having soil wash away when we pour water on it? Okay. In the other 3 boxes, you're going to draw while we watch the experiment happen. Okay. So in this box, there it goes. Okay, in this box, you can just write soil. Okay, you don't have to write the rest of the words. You can just write the word soil, but leave yourself lots of space for drawing, okay? In the next box, you're going to write the word leaves. So you can just write the word leaves and leave yourself some space for drawing, okay? And then in the last box, you're going to write the word grass. Okay, and leave yourself some space for drawing. Okay, so first box you wrote 2 words, predict, and then which one you think will be the best at stopping the water from carrying soil away. Just soil, soil with leaves on top, or soil with grass growing in it. Okay. In the next box, you're only writing the word soil, and you're leaving a big space for drawing. In the third box, you're just writing the word leaves and leaving yourself a big space for drawing. And then in the last box, you're just writing the word grass and leaving yourself a big space for drawing. Okay? If you need more time, you can hit the pause. Otherwise, we will go ahead and start the video. Okay, second graders, we are ready to start.
Hi, I'm Jared. Welcome to Fun Science Demos. The big idea today is erosion and how water has the power to shape our land. But we don't want the water to shape our land too much because we need that soil to grow plants. We use those plants for food, and animals use those plants for food. So what you see in front of me are 3 different types of land. This first type is just bare soil. It's just soil. This next type has dead leaves on top. And the third type has plants growing in the soil. This may not look too exciting right now, but when it rains, that water has the power to change the land. And we're going to make it rain to see what that water is going to do to our land. So we cut the top off of 3 plastic bottles, and we put the same soil in each of those 3 bottles. All of these bottles have the same soil. We covered this soil with dead leaves, and we grew some plants in this bottle. We've also used other plastic bottles to catch the water that's going to come out of these when we pour it into the bottle. We want to pour water into each bottle and see what happens. Does that water have the power to change the land? What do you think is going to happen when we pour water into this bottle and it comes out into the cup? Will it be any different from the water we pour into this bottle as it comes into the cup? And will this one be any different when we pour water into this bottle and it comes out into this cup?
So second graders, you made your prediction, right? That's what he's talking about right now. How will the 3 cups down here at the bottom look different, right? Because of what's in the bottle. Let's see what happens.
So I'm going to slowly pour water in. You're going to see the water level rise, and we'll see what happens with our soil. We'll keep it coming. And now it's coming out. Take a look at the bottle we used to catch the water. Well, what do you notice? Well, it's cloudy. So why is it cloudy? That's because all the dirt and the soil from our bottle was washed.
Second graders, in your second box, the one that says soil, you're going to draw what happened, okay? Think about adding color to your drawing and showing what the water looked like in the container with just soil, okay?
Into the cup. The water had the power to actually take the dirt and the soil with it out of the bottle and into the cup. The water moved the soil. It shaped the soil. So now I'm going to pour about the same amount of water into the next bottle. What do you think is going to happen? The water that we catch, will it be just as dirty?
Nope.
Will it be less dirty? Will we even be able to see a difference? Well, let's pour the water and find out. Here we go. So I'm pouring the water in. Making it rain. Adding water to our bottle. I can see the leaves floating to the top. Do we have any overflow? Yes, we do. Stop the rain and see what we have.
Let me stop it in a better spot, friends.
So,
okay, here's a good picture. So here's what you're going to draw in the next box. This is the one that says leaves, right? So draw a picture of what you notice and think about as you're drawing how these two are the same and how they're different.
So we've zoomed in so you can compare the two. This one has a lot of the soil in the container. This one just has a little bit of the particles, a little bit of the soil in that water. So why do you think this container is a little bit cleaner? Well, what's different between the two? Well, this one had leaves, dead leaves on top. And I think most of these dead leaves helped protect the soil underneath from moving with the water. So what do you think is going to happen with our third container? We have plants growing in the soil. What's going to happen when we add water and make it rain in this container? All right, here we go. Let's add the water. About the same amount. Pouring the water in. What do you think's going to happen here? Add a little bit more. It's coming out. We're going to stop pouring and see if we can compare what we see coming out. The water coming out of this container looks a whole lot cleaner than this one and a little bit cleaner than this one. So the question is why? Why is this water cleaner? I poured about the same amount of water into each container of soil. This one looks really clean. Well, to answer the question why, we have to zoom in and take a closer.
So second graders, go ahead and draw in the last box, the one where you wrote grass. Draw what it looks like in that cup, okay?
To look at what's really going on here. So now we're all set to take a closer look at why the water coming out of this bottle was so clean and clear compared to the others. To do that, I'm going to actually lift these plants out of this bottle and let's see what happens. Well, what I notice right away is what comes along with all of the plants. Well, the soil is actually coming out too. When I flip it over, I think you'll be able to see why. So we've zoomed in so we can see what's going on here. Why is this soil staying together? Why is it staying in place? Well, you can see the roots from our plants grew into the soil. And almost like little fingers, those roots are holding the soil together. So when it rains, the roots keep the soil from washing away. The roots of the plant, that's what keeps the water from eroding the soil. Besides holding the soil together and in place, roots do another amazing thing. To show you that, I'm going to squeeze this, and I want you to watch what happens. Where did all that water come from? Well, that came from when we made it rain on our soil. The roots of the plants helped hold that water in. Plant roots actually go deep into the soil, and this model is going to help us see how deep they can go. We're going to zoom in and see if we can see those really tiny plant roots that we have growing in our soil. We've zoomed in now so you can see these tiny roots in action. I'm going to point them out, and they actually extend from the plant all the way down to the bottom of our soil. I'll point out some of the bigger ones. They grow down into the soil. And think about what they're doing. They're holding that soil in place. All of these tiny roots getting nutrients from the soil, but they're also helping the soil out. Plants do an amazing job at keeping erosion from washing away too much soil. We need that soil. We depend on that soil to grow plants, and animals depend on that soil to grow plants. If you want to learn more about plants and soil and erosion, check out our...
All right, hang on just a second, friends. So first, let's go back here and see what you noticed. So think about your prediction. Oh, this should say leaves. Sorry, friends. So which one was the best at stopping erosion? It was the grass, right? Because the grass had roots that were in the soil, holding the soil in place, right? If your prediction wasn't right, that's a-okay. Scientists are not always right when they're making a prediction. A prediction is a best guess. And scientists change their mind after they do experiments sometimes, right? So you might have done that too. Make sure that you drew pictures showing what the soil or the water looked like when there was only soil, when there was soil with leaves, and then when there was soil with grass. Okay, you're going to turn that in on Seesaw. Now, let's go back to our problem that I gave you at the beginning. Okay, so here was our park. We had two lakes. They wanted to make a trail in the middle between the two lakes, right? The trail was going up and over the hill, and they were worried about erosion. They were worried that the hill might get washed away in the rain, and they didn't want to have to keep digging it out or replacing it to fix it, okay? So what do you think? What could be a good solution to that problem? What could they do? I'm thinking, and maybe you're thinking too, that they could plant some plants on the hill and that could help stop erosion, right? So if they covered this with grass or wildflowers, maybe they planted some trees, that could help stop the erosion from happening. I want to show you, second graders, one last example of how we can use plants in a pretty unusual way to help stop erosion, okay? It's a little different from using the roots. So this is a beach, and I think this beach is in Connecticut. Yep, so it's on the Atlantic Ocean. And what they do is if people have real Christmas trees that they use, at the end, after Christmas, they donate them, bring them to the beach, and they use them here. And they use them, you can kind of see them piled up right here too. They use them to help stop erosion at the beach. So they have the trees, they put up the fence, and then that fence and those trees stop the sand from moving in the wind, right? So the beaches aren't washing away or getting eroded away by the wind. Those fences and the Christmas trees are actually stopping them. If you look up here, this is small and hard to see, but this is a Christmas tree, and the sand is kind of all around it, and all the little parts of the tree are helping hold the sand in place so it's not eroding away in the wind and changing the beach too much, so they can still enjoy and use their beach. Isn't that a pretty cool way to stop erosion? Nice. So second graders, we learned a lot about erosion today and also how to stop it.